everybody. We are back once again for another edition of Around the Hoot. I am your host, Wyatt, and we've got Noah, Travis.
Sometimes the host when everything's going well.
Look, man, Noah is trying to give me shit because I did not force Travis from like 1,000 miles away to start the show when we were chit-chatting before. But look, it's not my fault. I don't have the stream button. I'm not in control of this anymore. Travis does.
Don't you pay him?
I don't pay anybody. I don't control the paychecks. I'm the assistant esports editor, not the actual esports editor. Anyways. So yeah, we're back. We've got the usual suspects of Travis, Noah, and Christiaan here to talk about everything Overwatch League. Before we get right into the power rankings, we have a couple housekeeping notes to go through. So first, we've got Sinatraa is here. Sinatraa is starting tonight. We're gonna get to see the $150,000 man reported allegedly.
150, Mr. 150K.
Because contracts are private in Overwatch League.
Yep, and that's another thing that condescending voice you hear over Travis. He will have more to speak on when we get a little bit later into the podcast. But yeah, so Sinatraa is coming, and it looks like they're going to be rotating out Dante, Baby Bay, and Sinatraa to kind of get them acclimated to the team. But hopefully this should be a pretty big boost to a San Francisco team that's already surging pretty well, I think. They looked pretty good the last couple of weeks. I mean, I think
they're definitely surging. Like, they look so much cleaner than they did.
Yeah.
Against who?
I mean, to be fair, it was against Houston, who's a raging dumpster fire akin to the Dallas Cowboys right now.
But still. Like, I think if you look at when you're the first stage and then most of stage 2, when you play like shit and then you play better than shit, that's surging in my book.
Sure. All right, so my question is, so the head coach says that they're going to be rotating these guys out. So with Noah being our, I guess, resident expert on Overwatch League compositions and things like that, do you think that, like, for me, just from like an actual sports perspective, like when playing and coaching soccer, you don't pull out your goalkeeper if he's on a hot streak. You don't want to disrupt whatever they've got going on. Well, my question is if they're going to rotate these guys out, do you think that's going to be on a per game basis? Do you think it's going to be on a per series basis? And if so, do you think that wrecks anything that they might be building right now?
Wait, that was your question after the what the fuck? Okay.
Well, it's like in sports, like you don't pull a pitcher when he's hot, like just because you've got a pitcher who's better on paper. Like
if you're starting goalie,
pitchers don't have to pitchers. It's such a weird. I don't know. Like they have in my mind, I think they're going to be switching out between games, right? Because different maps require different things.
Sure.
For example, I very much expect to see Sinatraa for Hollywood if they play it. I expect to see a lineup of Sinatraa and Baby Bay because you want a widow, and if you want the option of quad tank or like triple tank, Sinatraa is a very good Zarya, and Sinatraa is just a good tracer overall. Sinatraa has he has a lot of picks he can run.
I play Hollywood, by the way.
They do not play Hollywood. Okay.
Yeah, well, if they ever do play Nepal, Kings are over 6.
Even on Kings, like that's still a pretty good map for that lineup. I would expect them to be rotating everybody in just because it keeps things fresh and it's harder to predict what the team's going to do. Mm-hmm. In theory, all these guys have been practicing together anyways, including Sinatraa.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like it keeps the other team guessing, keeps them on their toes. It's harder to prepare. And also, I think going forward, San Francisco's biggest question is now like, okay, now that we have our superstar, who do we put with him? Because Dante's been a beast for this team, and he's been hard carrying these guys. But he has a relatively similar, if not the exact same hero pool that Sinatraa has, except he can play Sombra pretty well, right? And Sinatra's better than Dante. If you ask around, I think it's like a given fact. Even though Dante's been playing amazingly, I think Sinatra's just that much more of an upgrade. He's an incredible player. He deserves he's ranked 4 in the ladder. He's like top 10 in the ladder like almost always. The guy's nuts. But so yeah, to answer your question, I think they're going to be rotating on a per game basis, and they're going to try and figure out what the optimal starting lineup is.
All right.
Because they're already out of Stage 2 playoffs, so why not experiment?
Sure. Speaking of additions, so Addo and Fearless are supposed to be joining Shanghai, being able to play this week. They have, at least one of them has secured a visa. I believe that was Fearless is on a flight to LA right now. I think he would have a visa interview. And then Otto has secured his visa, I believe. And then also, I don't know exactly how to pronounce these names, but I'll do my best. Jikiren, Jiqiren, and Late Young are supposed to be joining Shanghai's academy team. And then also, I guess this is kind of old news, but while we were between shows, we had news that Undead and Dia may not return to
Undead's definitely not returning.
Yeah, Undead has like 12 baby mamas and 15 kids running around, so he's got a lot of shit to take care of.
Undead's done.
They said it was non-related to why he left, like the reason that he might not return.
I mean,
I don't know. I read the thing that Liam showed us from Reddit where active work, and there was like 4 baby mamas fighting over like him, and he didn't pay child support, and like, oof.
Yeah,
when you have to fly back to China to deal with your shit, like
I don't know what's going on with Dia. Like, God bless him and his family if something's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Poor Dia, man. Like,
well, Dia went first, right? He was the first one that left, right?
Yes, Dia was the first one.
Yeah, and it was a family emergency.
And then Undead's dad left, aka their old coach, and now that Papa Undead's gone, and Undead has all these problems. He's like, I'm not coming back. Like, I see you, Undead. You getting out? Well, like, it's just hand in hand. To me, it's just like, there's no reason why you put Undead on the flex role and not make him learn Tracer, except that for the fact that Dia's just better than him, like just simply better than him.
That's rough.
So yeah, Shanghai
for Dia, fuck Undead. Not only is he
Wrap
a
it up,
scummy
man.
human, he's a terrible oh my god. Like, in games where Shanghai could have won, he just randomly decides, I'm going McCree and I'm gonna hard carry, and then he just gets shit on, and the rest of the team's like, the fuck, we're feeding for you? We're feeding to like get you in? Hello?
Yeah, so Shanghai in another they're Shanghai. So we'll see if the new additions help. I think Addo and Fearless,
they can play Genji now.
Yeah, so they have that, and then Kigiri is still on track to arrive sometime this week. I think it'll be after
23rd, so she might.
Yeah. So she actually might be available for the last game.
She might be available, but I don't know if they'd have like one day to practice her.
Well, actually, they play on the 23rd, so I doubt she's going to play the same issue.
Yeah.
So,
no.
but
even if she did, I don't think she knows enough Chinese to justify resting MG or
that would be
Jushu.
a super.
Jushu might be the best player on that roster.
Yeah, she's not hopping off a flight straight to the arena to play.
Be a super,
that'd be so sick.
That'd be a super Shanghai like Chinese esports thing to do. Like,
it
right
really
after playing,
would, though.
You get in this lineup, you win us this game.
It's like, wait, I don't know any of these people.
Like, I can't even talk to them.
Language. Yeah. Wait, so Otto and Fearless are playing this week, right?
Yes, they that is the report. Is that they are expected to play.
Yeah, because they were supposed to get in, I think, like the 21st or something like that.
Okay.
So today.
They have a Winston who won't feed, and they have a Genji. So they still don't have a second DPS, but like, you know, they have a Genji.
Do you know anything about these academy additions?
They used to be a part of Miraculous Youngster, which was the best team in Chinese Overwatch history. These two I don't remember off the top of my head. But I think the Chinese academy scene, the contender scene, from what I've only watched like one half of one game or one half of one series from Chinese contenders. But from what I've seen, it's like pretty typical, like balls to the wall. We're gonna go in China esports stuff. Mm-hmm. So and not only that, but like Shanghai will be looking to make additions to this roster. Like,
they have to.
This first roster is a fucking disaster, but they get to hit the reset button, and especially if they're gonna be absorbing like top tier Chinese talent into their academy team that they can swap in and out, like a AAA, like a
baseball team.
MLB and AAA team, to use a baseball analogy, then I think China, the Dragons are making a good move. Speaking of which, I've got an article coming soon about contenders. May or may not be out right now. I have no idea.
All right, so let's go ahead.
That was a plug. Cool.
Rip this one off like a Band-Aid so that Noah doesn't complain. So XQC said that Kai is not the problem for the Dallas Fuel recently on his stream. We have more stuff to talk about. This isn't just about XQC. But it begs the question, which we were kind of talking a little bit about before we started the show, has Hastro, the owner of Envious, has he been kind of playing the Jerry Jones to the Dallas Fuel?
I don't know that yet, but yes.
I don't give a shit.
Well, Noah doesn't care. He's checked out of all the Dallas shit. But I think that's from Hastro's tweet the other day. I think it might have been before the podcast. But basically he had said after they lost on Wednesday or whatever. He basically tweeted like, okay. In other words, he said, I'm going to stop fucking up this team and I'm going to let the coaches and the management do their jobs. So it sounds like he was playing too much of a hands-on role and it had an effect on the team.
Well, so a lot of people were talking about that he was guaranteeing players time and that he was adding players to the team that Kai didn't want. That it
like
was
who?
Like XQC. He was the one who I think he tweeted when they were asking like, oh, well, is XQC gonna play? And Hastro was like, he will play at least one map. And so I'm wondering if he was like
Mission
trying
accomplished.
to like harness that, like I'm gonna try and take this guy and like absorb all of his fans. Like I'm wondering if he was trying to, like what teams are trying to do with Tim Tebow. Only
you mean like how they have fucking Siegel? They have Siegel. Remember that?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. He has a good play somewhere, right?
No, he's.
I'm just joking.
He's the most passive.
All right, and here we see Dallas Fuel versus insert team here. They're going to move into the mid-fight, and Siegel on that Genji going to go in. Oh, he's going to feed immediately. Interesting strategy right there from Siegel, but don't worry, his team is feeding, and D.Va's overpowered. What do you think about that? You remember when he was Junkrat One Trick? It was because literally that was the only character you could play at an Overwatch League.
I remember that. That was all stage 1.
His Genji got
hysterical.
He brought out Genji versus fucking like London or someone, and they just got shit on so hard. It was the funny Prophet was this was stage 1, and this might be revisionist history because it's hard to it's stage 1. It's in the past. We only go forward. We hold W, not us. But there was one match where I think Siegel played against Prophet, and it was like a Genji duel, and like at some point Prophet just started styling on him deliberately using deflect and then canceling it, and then just like standing still and wiggling his shoulders at him and like just AD strafing.
Yeah, Dallas is rough. But maybe now that this is kind of coming to light, maybe he will stop being Jerry Jones.
Than words.
You
can say about it, but
better.
I don't really trust Slasher all that much to change.
Slasher?
Hastro.
I don't expect Slasher to change.
I was like, what the fuck
I was
is
gonna say
Slasher?
Rod's not going anywhere.
He probably won't change either. That's a pretty good assumption.
So I'm bouncing between like Call of Duty and Overwatch right now.
I feel you, dude.
Reinforce dropped an article on Medium earlier today that talks about what he thinks is the problem with the Dallas Fuel. We won't necessarily get into that, but if you are just transfixed like I am on the flaming disaster, falling meteor that is the Dallas Fuel, I highly recommend you go check that out.
TLDR for us, Travis, and just get it out of the way.
He thinks that it's nobody's problem, that it's a confidence issue, but to me that translates into the coach should be taking care of your confidence. He should be boosting the morale of his players.
Yeah.
So take it for what you will. A little bit of fluff news to get out of the way. The New York Excelsior will be in New York in like a week. They will be in City Stadium on April 2nd signing autographs.
Go
Look at
hang out with
that.
Sabiolby for me. I love Sabiolby. He's such a wholesome dude. He's my idol right now. Not only is he the best tracer in the league, but like every time he pulls out a picture of his wife and he puts it near his
Puts on his
keyboard,
keyboard, yeah.
it's so. I remember
That's adorable.
after they beat Seoul, he got home and he was practicing, and it was like kind of late at night, I suppose, and his wife was asleep, and he was like, "I have to whisper, wife's sleeping," and he was like popping off in ranked, and he was trying to like whisper calls to his team. And then at some point, his wife got in chat and was like, "You can speak louder. I'm not asleep yet." And then he's like, "I'm going to bed now. Bye."
That's awesome.
And then one other news is that Brigitte came out yesterday
Yeah.
Yeah,
for everybody.
she's in, but she's not in ranked. Thank you,
Good.
Blizzard.
Good.
I
Every
had
quick
like a,
game I've played with Brigitte, she's just been useless.
Well, I had a mild heart attack yesterday because I was just like, I queued for ranked, and then I was like, I got a game, and then I was like, oh no, what have I done? The new hero came out today. Somebody's just gonna insta-lock her, and we're gonna lose.
And then you're like, oh, that's
Blizzard's
right.
got you. Blizzard
did me a solid this time.
Yes.
This is not League of Legends where
Yeah.
everything the minute they click a button.
The worst thing is as soon as I got into this game, I picked my hero, and there's one dude left unpicked, and he gets in the voice chat, and he goes, yo, does anybody know why I can't pick the new hero?
Of course. Oh, jeez.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yikes.
Serious stuff now before we get into the fun stuff, which is power rankings and predictions. So it's Richard Lewis is the guy, right?
Yeah.
Lewis? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Richard Lewis published a report, I think it was two or 3 days ago. He claims to have gotten his hands on the code of conduct from an unnamed source. You know, I'm not
Dude,
saying...
Nate Nanzer is shitting his underwear right.
Oh,
He
should be. He should be.
No, he should.
Like, this is
yeah.
a disaster. Like the dude, I tried myself to get a hold of him, and when it was like earlier in the week. It was right.
No,
after
we need to keep an eye on Travis.
Oh, right.
Where'd Travis go? You're gonna see him getting carried out because he's trying to sneak into the back office.
I was gonna introduce you guys to Sig Green Bomb, but now I can't. I'm not letting you anywhere near him, dude.
I tried. Well, it was, just a journalistic thing. I was only trying to call his office, but when I tried to call, he was in Korea, because I'm guessing he's out with the sales team trying to secure more sponsorships and teams for the expansions for season 2. Which is great and all. It's definitely part of a commissioner's job description to try and secure those business ventures.
He is doing his job.
The league. He is doing his job.
He's not just running away from you.
But I would say that you would have a better product to sell if you don't pull a blue hole and you finish the product that you're working on before
Hashtag
you start
Fortnite's better than
to-
PUBG.
before you start trying to pimp it out to people.
You two just want me to leave. You're
So according to Richard Lewis, they have not released it yet. They do intend to release it in full. They are currently working on scrubbing the metadata from the files that they have received so that the unnamed source who gave it to them will not find themselves in trouble with Blizzard, so that he keeps that reliable source. He says that it is only 35 pages and that 10 of those pages are devoted to player conduct.
So
That's
like
a
a third?
That's like a lot of pages.
That's
just
a
talking
lot
about
of
conduct.
pages. And I think, let me see if I can pull it up. But he actually has some excerpts in the article, and some of the things that they talk about with what's included in player code of conduct. Like, we now have, at least if it's true, we have an answer to, yeah, they totally have grounds to punish you for what you say on stream. Like, it's not some made up stuff, but the scope at which they sweep is absurd. Let me see if I can find. Okay. The league office is committed to providing a competitive game environment that is free of harassment and discrimination. In furtherance to that commitment, players, team managers, and owners are prohibited from engaging in any form of harassment or discrimination, either in-game or outside of the game, including without limitation that which is based on race, color, religion, gender, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any other class or characteristic.
So I think that's what we like to call a wide net.
Yeah.
Like they literally have just classified everything that you can do ever under.
It makes sense though now why we got that shoulder gate meme apology from the Gladiators, because Blizzard if you breathe the wrong way in someone's general direction, like you could be fined.
Yeah, it seems like they're really trying to make sure that this is like an airtight league with. Yeah, I mean they want it to be sponsor friendly. I mean, you know,
it's year one, so like
yeah, I feel like
as time goes on and sponsors see that as a trustworthy product.
Yeah,
sure. Well, I mean,
like,
I think you could go the opposite route of that and show that you are a trustworthy product, that you can handle your business in regards to disciplinary action of non-ad friendly things. I do understand the money grab, but at the same time, I feel like it's a little bit overkill, especially based on this actually happened in between shows again. So for anybody who didn't read, apparently like the Gladiators, was it the Gladiators general manager bumped into Muma and Jake backstage. Nobody really knows what happened. Some people say it was a bump. Some people say it was a hip check. He apologized.
Hip check. I'm just imagining him just checking people.
He's giving fucking Jake a spine buster in the hall.
Jeez, but yeah. So I mean, it looks like, you know, like I said, Blizzard, they're trying to make sure that everything is airtight. We'll see how this goes so far. I mean, all things considered, I think they've handled things as well as can be expected with some of the unusual shit that they've had to deal with in the form of XQC, because that's not necessarily something that we see in esports a lot. So it is kind of uncharted territory. So, you know, I think they do need to release this thing. I think that would kind of solve a lot of problems, because then people can say, oh yeah, there is a reason for this, but we've been saying that for 10 weeks now. So we'll see. Maybe by the end of season 1 we'll have it. We'll see. But yeah, so that's our news, and so let's now get all that good stuff out of the way, and we can get into our power rankings and our predictions for this week. So power rankings, our top 3 overall, the top 3 teams stayed the same. They switched up a little bit in the second and third spot, but so Excelsior took the top spot once again. I didn't agree with this. I thought the Spitfire should be up there, because the way the Spitfire, they both played against the Dynasty. Excelsior barely got past them, whereas the Spitfire completely bent them over a table. So, but anyways, so you got Excelsior at number 1, but barely. Then you got Spitfire right behind the Excelsior, and then Seoul Dynasty at number 3. After that is kind of where things start to get a little bit more interesting. So we got the Gladiators all the way up at number 4.
Yep.
This team has
they've
been playing pretty good lately.
Yep.
Very, very good. So you know, they were number 5 last week, and now they're up to 4. We'll see. They're knocking on the door of a playoff spot. I think there's 3 or 4 teams that are at 6-2 right now. So this last week is going to be very interesting.
We're about to find out, though, aren't we? Like, isn't the first game today Gladiators versus Fusion?
Philly.
Yeah. It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we're going to get some pretty good matchups. So yeah, we might have, I think London and Excelsior are pretty much kind of a lock to make that top 3. But I think that third spot could be a different team this time around than we had last time. It definitely won't be Houston, that's for sure.
Noah, what do you have to say for your pride and joy if they miss out on stage 2 titles as well?
Unlucky.
Oh, I think.
Okay, like
I
think they have really good Johns in that they had to play New York and London in the same week, and you could tell they were clearly more prepared for the New York matchup than they were the London matchup.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
It also
I think-
looked that way in stage 1, though.
Did they play New York and London in the same week in stage 1? No, they just didn't play Ryu or Toby for whatever reason. No, I know why they didn't, but like they didn't do it. But yeah, like playing them both in the same week is pretty rough. I saw a lot of good things from the New York matchup, right? And then the London matchup is like, I honestly wrote that off as like, okay, like
It happened.
London had time to prepare and Seoul didn't. So like I predicted Seoul would win that game because I thought it would be the one they focused more on, but it wasn't the case. Which, you know, like props to Seoul. We're going to take the fight to the big dogs. And they almost won. It was close.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 3-2. Like, it was a very close matchup.
I do think Seoul still has some issues, but they've shifted. Now it's not that Flutter has to hard carry. It's like, what is Flutter doing? Flutter's not carrying as hard. Maybe he's getting more focused down, and Seoul has to learn how to enable him again. But from what I've seen from Seoul, Ryu Jae-hong is like getting close to back in terms of like how strong of a player he is. He had a lot of really good moments this last week. Toby's been really consistent ever since he could be freed from Mercy Jail 24/7. Miro is still, I think, a question mark for me, at least for this team. I think Zumba's a pretty solid player all around, so like maybe looking at a new main tank. But main tanks are hard. Good main tanks are hard to find, you know. And Miro's got so much synergy with the rest of this core that I doubt they're going to drop him anytime soon. I know I make fun of Travis for calling out for the I remakes and Bishi synergy all the time, but like, there's not much better you can do than Miro, you know. Like Miro would have replaced I remix, but Fisher's just a tier above that even. But yeah, right now Munchkin's playing out of his mind. I don't know necessarily what Flutter's doing. Maybe Flutter's just trying to find himself in this new role. But I do believe that Seoul will be able to make it to Stage 3 playoffs. They need a strong week coming in, but I think they can win in map differential for sure.
Well, they have a pretty favorable lineup this week too, like Outlaws and Mayhem. Oh, Mayhem been kind of surging, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, but like Mayhem haven't had
Mayhem.
They have been surging against like not
terrible teams.
They looked
Like
good
so,
against the Gladiators, but at the same time, like even
they lost.
The Gladiators and the Fusion are the best teams in the West right now, and they've both had it handed to them by different all-Korean rosters. And so I don't think that we should be looking for Florida to upset an all-Korean roster unless they just completely get overlooked. Which
They go
I don't.
and
There's no way anybody's going to make that mistake.
yeah, exactly. And I think Florida has been winning pretty. And like I said, it's Seoul. They're really good at preparing for individual matchups, right?
Yeah.
Their preparation against Florida should be enough to carry them over the hump, and then I think they'll be able to destroy Houston much in the same way every team has destroyed Houston that has a good tracer player. In that Houston has no idea what they're doing, and Raucus is not up to snuff right now. I don't want to say he's the worst Zenyatta in the league, but he might be the worst Zenyatta in the league. That's not in Shanghai. That's not in Shanghai.
With the Dynasty having to play both of the other all-Korean rosters in 1 week, do you think that we'll see maybe some parity between like the Overwatch League and like the NFL and the NBA, where you kind of have those scheduling issues where it's like, oh well, the Warriors had to play this game after 5 games on the road, or like, oh, you know, like the Eagles have like the Rams and then the Vikings and then the Saints, and like,
yeah.
Is it a scripted problem? Aren't they all there anyway?
They're all there, but the point is like those are the examples of other sports leagues of problems with the schedule of like, oh well, this is the reason they lost.
I certainly hope that London and New York have to go through the same bullshit. Like,
yeah, I mean that was rough.
That stretch of London and versus New York is either the hardest or the second hardest possible week for another team.
Mm-hmm.
With another candidate being Seoul and New York. And Seoul has enough time to prepare specifically for a matchup.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say Seoul had no time to prepare for the London matchup, but London has 12 players. And so it's just like, okay, we barely beat this out. Like, yikes.
Yeah.
I think it's close, right? It's close between Gladiators and Seoul, who gets last spot. Anybody know?
Yeah, I think they're tied right now.
For
and then it's like
the
last
last
score.
spot.
Yeah, so
They're
it'll
tied,
come.
yeah, but
It'll come down.
advantage
I
is
think
not.
whoever makes it in, it's going to come down to match score.
I think Gladiators has a sizable lead on map score, though. I think they have it by 5.
What?
Let me see.
5? Jesus Christ.
I think they're plus 14, and I think Shanghai's plus 9.
Shanghai?
Or
He is.
Pretty sure
it's-
Shanghai's-
it's 12 and 9.
Okay, it's 12.
Gladiator 14 is the Spitfire. Spitfire have a 14 and 9 over Seoul. So, but yeah, Spitfire, Gladiators, and Seoul are all at 6 and 2, and they're within striking distance from match score, like with their 2 games this week, depending on how they go. So I'm pretty sure it'll
Seoul should
probably
pick up
come
a
down.
couple of big wins, though.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Seoul has a better chance of going 4-0 twice than the Gladiators do, because Gladiators have Boston and Philly, which is a pretty tough schedule.
I think there are certain maps where Philly just go nuts on. And
Yeah. Well, at the same time, London has they have Shanghai and Dallas, so like that should be 8-0 right there.
yeah, previous.
So I think it's going to be that third spot. I think London and New York are almost a lock to get this.
Yeah, for sure.
But we'll see. So that's so the Gladiators. We kind of talked about Fusion a little bit. We'll talk about a little bit more when we get into our predictions. But Philly is at number 5 spot.
Yep.
Boston jumped up a couple spots into the number 6 seed from 8 last week. Gamsu's back. They're looking pretty good.
Yeah, Gamsu's a beast.
Yeah,
Top 5 main tank in the league.
Yeah, super good. Mayhem all the way up from number 10. They're at 7 now. So I mean, I think they've
been improving by leaps and bounds as of late.
Yeah, like ridiculously. So I don't know.
Logix has stepped up huge, and like their just overall coordination has been way better.
Yeah. So I mean, they still only have 2 map wins. Look, they actually finally changed the website where you can sort it by stage now. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
It used to only default to the overall, and I was like, stage 2 is. That's cool. But yeah, so I mean, Florida still only has 3 map wins, so it's still going to be quite of a long shot for them to make the playoffs at the end of the season.
They could play spoiler.
But they could play spoiler, or who knows, they could pop the fuck off in the next two stages and find their way.
With Cy player in the lineup, but I can't say it won't happen.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. Valiant, they're number 8, and they're not looking too good.
They're still trying to figure out what they're still in experiment mode. Like
this is the last week of stage 2, and they still look like they have not figured out the meta yet, which is not good.
It's not. I don't think it's even the meta. Like I think I understand what they need to do. It's just like they don't understand who the fuck to play. Like
they don't understand what to do with their roster in this meta. Like they just don't. Like they have no idea. They have all their pieces, and they're just kind of like here, and they just kind of.
They're not bringing the Sombra changes next stage either, are they? So it's still.
They will, but I think
they will. But I'm pretty sure Sombra will get nerfed before then.
She already has been once, I believe.
I think it won't be the broken Sombra that was for the first patch. Like
the broken, but like she's still really good right now.
Well, yeah, but it's not that original where she was absolutely broken.
Like eyeballing it in rough math, I think she's like 70 to 80% pick rate in contenders right now. She's really and she's forcing Zenyatta out of the meta. She's that strong.
Whew. So
I'm only asking because like Valiant is still figuring out what to do, and then they're going to have to refigure what to figure out to do next stage.
I'm pretty sure none of them can play some. I don't know any of them.
None of them.
Yeah,
maybe this is how they get Grim Reality back in. He becomes a Sombra god.
Sombra.
So basically, I might have hitched my horse to the wrong loss. You're saying?
Unlucky.
Gladiators
are
going to win, and they're going to move to Denver just like Stan Kroenke does with all of his teams.
I hope get him out of LA, because that way at least I don't have to pick the wrong team anymore.
I want him.
It's fine. So right after the Valiant at number 8, we have the Shock at number 9. I think they've been number 9 for like 3 weeks in a row. So they're holding steady at that number 9 spot.
They will only get better now.
Yeah, they've got Sinatra this week. Super, I think he turns 18 like the 25th or something, so he'll be there for start of stage 3. So they're gonna have they
upgraded their supports.
Yeah.
From what I've seen from Moth, he's not as bad as Dark.
Architect. Yeah,
and Architect's coming in too. which is
and Moth looked really good last week. I think he only played like 1 or 2 games.
He looked solid. I don't want to say really good.
I mean, for compared to what they've had before, he was an upgrade. So
well, he seems like a little bit. I don't want to say like an entire shot caller, but he definitely seems like he's brought that team a little bit more cohesion than they've had. Like they look sharper as a unit with him in the mix.
Maybe, yeah. Like if it's hard to shot call when you're dead, and Dak's dead a lot. So
that is true.
Very true.
Yeah.
So and then we've got number 10, the Houston Outlaws, down from 7. Texas is just not good at this Overwatch thing.
Speaking of GMs, like you guys like Flame on Twitter, who's like making fun of people. He used the SpongeBob meme. That's why I did it in my blurb.
Oh, is that why you wanted to use it?
Yeah, it's like you guys need a tracer name, and then he's like, well, if you look here, Clockwork, the Devoch gave us a team fight win condition, and Jake had went like 26-3, and it's like you look at their current
it's the one with the letters where he's like, you don't need this thing.
Yeah.
It's SpongeBob with the dumb face.
Yeah, and then you look at the 3 Tracer players' overall stats. Linkster is the best Tracer amongst them, surprise, surprise, but he just feeds. Like, he just goes super ham and dies always, right? And Linkster's like the backbone of that team, and if he feeds, then the rest of the team won't be able to clean up in this meta. Then you look at Jake. Jake's just not good at the character, like straight up. And then Clockwork's like super passive. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. Yeah, like they have Clockwork, who is a dedicated Tracer main, who is bottom of the table in Tracer play. And they bring him in to play Tracer, they get shit on, and then they sub him out. And they make other people play Tracer. And it's like, okay, so does Clockwork work? Or do you need a new Tracer? And then Flame's like, we don't need a new Tracer. And I get it, it's Flame, and he like has a hard-on for ex-TF2 players, and Clockwork is a good TF2 player. But like, he got shit on by like Dia. I don't know how to defend him. Like,
I mean,
Clock is not the answer.
It could be a problem with tactics too.
What odds do you give them against current Shanghai?
What?
What odds do you give them against current Shanghai?
Are they playing this week?
I believe so. They look like a disaster.
Thank Christ that all the DPS are gone.
Right? Like, Houston couldn't have caught a better break than Undead and Dia being in China when they're at the low point.
And, like, their problem is Tracer. We all agree on this, right? I'm not the only one.
No, you're not the only one. Well, I mean, one thing that, like, their problem is definitely Tracer because they keep pushing Linkster onto it. And Linkster is their best DPS who's capable of playing way more than Tracer. Whereas Jake is capable
He's their
of
Widow. He's their
nothing.
Genji.
Jake warrants no attention, and Linkster is on Tracer, and Linkster's being over-aggressive where his other DPS is warranting no attention. So all they have to do is focus on Linkster. And then even if he switches off of Tracer, Jake still warrants no attention, and they can feel comfortable diving Linkster.
Well, this is a really unfortunate meta for Jake. He's not the best Genji, to the point where, like, you don't want to put him on it. And Linkster's a fantastic Genji anyways. He doesn't play, like, McCree, right?
He just spams. He's like spam heroes, really.
Was he also a good team?
He plays Project Jake. I don't remember. He's good on projectile. His fair is pretty serviceable, and his Junkrat's pretty good. But neither of them are particularly in the meta. He has a good soldier, but again, like if you want to run soldier comps, you need a Tracer to create space for the soldier. And if Linkster's just inting, then like it doesn't count.
I mean, I think that Houston needs to act before the trade window and find themselves a Tracer player.
Ooh, my favorite part. Flame kept saying is like, you guys need. It's like he flamed the Twitter and the rest of the world and is like, you guys are dumb. We don't need a Tracer. And then in one of their Outlaws post-match press conferences, Linkster and Mumo were being interviewed, and it's like, so do you guys have a Tracer problem? And they were both like, yeah, we need a better Tracer player. Like, we're getting fucked because of this. And it's like, Flame, your players are disagreeing with you quite publicly on your team's own YouTube channel.
I mean, Flame has always seemed like a really proud guy to me, and like he
was really sad when he didn't get chosen for the Team USA selection committee. It was the funniest fucking thing.
And I don't mean to be like, I don't know. He's in the Overwatch, like the Pro Talk stuff that observe on Discord with Slasher, but he seems kind of like he's got a bit of an ego problem.
He's one of the boys, you know? He wants to be one of the boys. And
sure,
it's like,
and
come on, man.
To me, it's just like I feel like I think it's a Voltaire quote, and it's like when everyone's against you, you're either dead right or you're dead wrong, and it's like everyone is against you, and most people,
including your team,
yeah, including your own team,
including Linkser, who's like the best tracer in your squad. He's like, I'm so bad at this. I've only been playing it for a month. Like, God.
Well, I mean, that would have been like, I don't even know quite what to compare this to. This would have been like the season in Indianapolis when Peyton Manning was injured, and if they didn't draft Andrew Luck at number 1, if they were just cool with Charlie Painter, and they were like, no, we don't have a quarterback problem. We don't have a quarterback problem.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Just recognize when something is wrong. It's okay to fix it. You don't have to, like, if you're best buds with Jake, you don't have to kick him off the team. You just have to be like, look, man.
Jake's good in other metas. Jake is good in other metas. Not this one.
You're going to get a little bit of R&R this stage because we need a tracer. Or, hey, learn to play tracer better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like practice.
Maybe Jake's just like a slow learner, and maybe stage 3 or stage 4 he can finally play the character. But like, fuck.
Maybe, yeah, we'll see.
Neither of the Texas teams will admit their problems. It's the most Texas thing I've ever seen in my life.
You know what? San Francisco could use with a nice tank. Trade them Fact Fiction for a DPS that they will no longer be using that much. Like
you
Dante.
asked for Muma. No, you asked for Muma.
I don't know if I would trade Muma for Dante. I think we went over this before. I would trade Muma for
I think we did, yeah.
Okay, maybe Fact Fiction for who? Dante? I think Dante's a beast.
Do you think... Okay, Nevix and Nomi, do you think Fact Fiction is better than them?
Nomi's super low tier. That's why Super's coming in and replacing him. Like, they already have a tank on deck.
Sure.
I mean, maybe like having a second tank would not hurt, but like Super's really good too. Shentuan's only going to get better at this point. I still don't think they're going to crack top 6, but like they're going to be good.
Yeah. So and then closing out the rankings, we've got Dallas Fuel and Shanghai Dragons at the bottom.
Teams.
Yeah,
I think Shanghai's better than Dallas because Shanghai fills me with hope. And Dallas
exactly. Oh yeah, I think I have more hope
for Shanghai with like 1 DPS and it's their worst DPS somehow looks better than Dallas.
Because like Shanghai has upside too, because we know that they've signed new players that will
and they have new coaches. And you can see that their playstyle is adapting and they're learning from mistakes.
So they have an upside.
When Dallas played, Effect and like half of that team checked out halfway through the game, and it's just like, hey, Effect, you're good, maybe carry us. And you know what? Effect is so damn good, he can sometimes kind of do that.
I mean, with Dallas,
but like it's OWL.
We're looking at a complete roster with what we thought was a competent support system in the organization, who came in with looking at a top 5 slot for the inaugural season.
And some people said they would win. I thought they'd be top 3.
Right? And now we're looking at a bottom place team. Meanwhile, Shanghai came in as, well, we don't really know what they have to offer. These players seem to be good, but we don't really know what's going on. They didn't get to the United States on time. They barely had any time to practice. They lost their coach halfway through the season. They've lost 2 players here at the end of the season. They're just shipping players over by the dozens trying to fix things.
And it also seems incredibly corrupt.
Like, we know that Shanghai can get better because everything is so bad right now on the org side. Like,
but they're taking steps. They're being transparent and they're trying to take steps to fix it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
they're admitting that there's problems.
And in game, they look like they have a better chance of winning than Dallas does.
Yeah.
I'll say this: everyone in Dallas looks like they kind of hate each other right now.
I don't think they hate each other. I think they're just like,
hate their situation.
Why did I get signed by the Dallas Fuel?
Yeah, I think they're just over their
situation. I'm sure they're sitting there wondering, why can't I
play for fucking Rascal, man. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
Dude, I can see, you can just see it on all of those players' faces. And like even XQC to a certain degree looked like that. And he was one of the problems. Like you could see them sitting there like, why do I play for this team?
It's okay. When players, I'm gonna say this really quickly, then we're gonna move on. As a coach, when players get frustrated, the coaching staff needs to be there. Needs to be like, okay, guys, we can fall back on these plans that we talked about and we've been executing in practice, right? Yep. We know how we can win these things. Let's focus. Let's mentally regroup, and the coaching staff should be teaching these guys how to mentally regroup and focus on what needs to get done. There's nothing happening. There are no comms on that team. Nobody's talking. They're just doing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, did you guys listen to the comms at the end of last week? Like where you actually
Rascal's the only one talking.
You had Rascal being like, "Yo, I need heals. I need heals. Never mind, I'm dead." And then you have people being like, "Guys, back up. We're getting split up. We're getting split up."
Push means go.
Like, push means go.
Rascal's okay. Unpopular opinion maybe, but I think Effect is easily the most important part of this team, right? You need to build around Effect. Fuck the old NV roster. You need to build around Effect. Mm-hmm. AKM is good. You can keep him. Rascal's good too. You can keep him. But like, they need new supports for sure.
Yeah.
They need frontline, new tank players.
Yep.
Main and off tank. I've been shitting on Mickey for a while, but he's not cut out for this. With that said,
I mean, he's a diva. He's a diva specialist. What else can he do for that team? That's it.
Well, it's diva. Like that's what you want to know.
I know you need a diva, but like at the same time, it's like what happens when the meta shifts if they ever do something about diva ever. You know.
then he's really fucked.
Right.
Then he gets exposed. But like, yeah, they just like drag their feet on finding a suitable off tank replacement. Now they're trying to put Seagull in the role, even though it's like.
But they signed OGE, and then now he's also being accused in Korea of boosting.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's just issues there.
Let's move on. I'm done.
But yeah, so let's go. We got a few minutes left. Let's just go through our predictions. Basically, all but like two of them are pretty cut and dry. So opening the week, we've got the Gladiators versus the Philadelphia Fusion. Me and Travis think that the Fusion are going to continue playing pretty strong and beat the Gladiators, whereas everyone else thinks that Gladiators will win. I'm just saying Gladiators because fuck Gladiators. I'm a Valiant fan. What? I also think that Philadelphia looks really good. So
Travis, why will Philly win?
So here's my thing. I do love the Gladiators, and I want
two sentences or less, Travis.
I want them to win this. I stand by my I guess for lack of a better word, appraisal of the Fusion from stage 1 is that they are the best at working in their individual pairs, their supports, their DPS, and their tanks. And right now, I do not know if there is a better synchronization between any of the teams than with the Fusion. Like, they've looked ridiculously clean in all of their recent matches. And even with Snillo and EQO in the lineup, they've looked incredibly clean. So I generally think that Philly is going to win this. They do not look like the team that was all chaos in stage 1. And I think that their, I'll call it honed chaos, is going to be something difficult to play against.
I agree.
I would like to argue in the negative for the Gladiators. Fisher is going to fucking style on Fraggy, and it will not be remotely close. It will be like, oh, this is what a top tier tank looks like. Okay. And then it's like EQO versus Hydration. EQO has been pretty solid. Hydration has been that much better. Asher's been playing out of his mind. Surefour's been playing out of his mind. And I think the support core for the Gladiators are better than the support core for the Fusion.
I agree.
Therefore, Gladiator.
I want the Gladiators to win, but I think they look too scrappy against how the Fusion have been playing. I really do.
What do you mean? If they die, then Fisher does stuff. Like, Fisher's really good.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see who ends up coming out on top there. And then we got Florida versus San Francisco. Me and Christian think San Francisco because Sinatra.
This is the one I deliberated the most on.
Yeah, this one. I think this one's kind of a toss up. I thought about this one a little bit too, but I feel like boost in that first match, especially because it's Florida. And yeah, they've been better, but it's still Florida. So like, I don't really have that much faith to put in that over the new hotness. So we'll see. And then the rest of the matchups, Houston over Shanghai, because Shanghai is Houston is less of a dumpster fire than Shanghai is.
Yep. Houston has 0 tracer players. Shanghai has 0 DPS players.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that that sums it up there. Seoul over Houston,
Genji, who can't talk to anybody.
Seoul over Houston, because Houston is Houston. New York over Dallas, because same reason as above. This one, I guess, San Francisco versus Boston. Travis and Christiaan are going with San Francisco.
This one was also close.
This one was another. I think both San Francisco games were ones that I could with, but this time I feel like with Gamsu back in the lineup, I feel like that's strong enough to overcome what Sinatra's going to bring to the table for the Shock.
I feel like Boston is back in form.
Yeah, they look back in form after last week. So, but it was still a tough one to call. See this one kind of going either way.
I'm still not a Boston believer. I don't know why. It's a gut reaction, and I'm trusting my gut.
I think that's fair.
Something because Shocks built their entire team around Sinatra. Like, if they're not winning against Boston against Sinatra, this wasn't worth it.
I mean,
this wasn't worth it.
That's fair.
You played yourself.
And then Seoul over Florida, Philly over Valiant, London over Shanghai, London over Dallas, New York over LA Valiant, and then Gladiators over Boston. We already know that, or Christiaan, you guys can't see it, but Christiaan has predicted that New York Excelsior are going to win Stage 2. I think that London's going to win Stage 2. What are you guys' predictions just to close this out here for who? We don't know what the matchups are. We don't know which 3 are going to make it, but I think London's going to win no matter who's in there. What about you, Noah and Travis?
Travis?
Whoever wins today's first game.
Today's first game?
Yeah. Whoever wins the first game of today, which would be Gladiators or Philadelphia.
You think they're going to win Stage 2?
I do.
Damn, okay. Bringing out the big guns with that call. I'll take it. I like it. What about you, Noah?
Okay, no, this is Lunatic High has never won a season 1 or a stage 1 of fucking anything. All right, let's get that.
Yeah, Lunatic High also wasn't going to go.
Yeah, no, he's right. Seoul doesn't go 0-2 except for when they did.
Except when they play. Okay. All right, listen up, you schmucks. They had the toughest schedule, and they had the best game that anybody has had against New York. It's full starting lineup in Stage 2.
They did. That's fair.
It's full starting lineup. London got a pass, and London has looked inconsistent. They lost to Gladiators. Seoul, I'm pretty confident can just beat Gladiators because they're good at working around good enemy main tanks, right? Overall, I think Seoul is going to cruise into playoffs, and I think you're going to see some anime magic. And if it doesn't happen, probably New York, or I don't care. Listen.
We'll see. But yeah, so that's going to do it for us. And to the person in chat, can Philly make it? Philly is 5-3. If they win both of their series, and then I think if Seoul loses one, or Gladiators loses one, it is possible. So there is a world that Philly can make it. It's not as likely, but they can make it into the playoffs for sure. So we'll see what happens there. And that's going to do it. As always, you can see our Twitter handles either below or above our names here. And we'll catch you guys next week. We'll be talking about all 2 playoffs and all that good stuff. Myself, Travis, and Noah will be there in person. If you guys are going to be there, tweet us on Twitter and meet up with us if you want to, talk about whatever or anything like that.
We'll be trying to take pictures throughout the event, but I'm going to forget. So
yeah, probably. But we'll all 3 of us will be there both days, Saturday and Sunday. So hopefully see you guys there. And that's going to do it for us this week. Peace out.
Adios.